Welcome everybody, this is Omar from Team Earthstream bringing you a deck profile. Now this will be my first deck profile that I'm going to do for you guys, so please bear with. Today we're going to be going over the Garchomp Giratina Malamar version of what we think is pretty good. Now don't take this to heart, these are the cards that I think are good. Everybody has their preference and how they want to choose their deck and how to play it. So I believe the 3-count Jirachi here that we got for the Stellar Wish is a good count, because you don't want extra Jirachis in this, because the list is already, you know, the 60 card list is already good as it is. I think the 3 is enough to get you going, especially to start off with 1, to be able to dig in more when you need to, be able to get whatever you want for that Stellar Wish. Our next few cards is gonna be, of course, the 4-count NK here. Now this is a must for any Malamar deck. Actually, you always want to have the 4 counts along with the 4-count Malamar. Let's put these down here. So everybody already knows that Malamar is able to Psychic Recharge, get energies from the discard pile, bring them onto a Pokemon onto the bench, and attach it onto it. So it's a really good card. It's really well played with the rest of the cards that are in this deck. You got Viridian Forest to let you discard energy, so that's another form of energies discarding. You also got Mysterious Treasure in this deck to get rid of energies from your hand to be able to Psychic Recharge them as well. Our next little card is going to be Mew for the Pikarom matchup, be able to prevent the the Tugboat GX, to be able to get knockouts on multiple targets, especially if they target 2 Malamars at once. It will hurt this deck and slow it down tremendously. And also the first ability, or the first attack on it, is actually pretty good if you start off with it, to start getting some damage on the board, so that's another plus. And also it has a 1 retreat cost, so Escape Board definitely helps in this one, or either manually attaching it to get it back onto the bench. And we also have Esper. Now Esper's attack is really cool. It prevents you from pretty much hitting anything on the board with the second attack. It reads, what does it say, 20 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon for each damage counter on that Pokemon. So let's say that you are spreading some damage, or either if you attack into the main target and they retreat it so you cannot get that knockout next turn, you're able to bring out Esper out, be able to promote it after you, of course, Psychic Recharge to it, and just take that knockout even though they're trying to hide from you. So I think this is a really cool card, and for a single price, it's able to hit so hard once you get some damage onto the board, or either onto the main active Pokemon that you're trying to knock out. A really good card to have in there, and it's only a single price, so it's not going to hurt anything. Along with it being a 1 retreat cost, also Escape Board can attach and retreat it if you start off with it. Now the other card that I like a lot is going to be, let's move these cards around real quick, guys. It's going to be the Mimikyu for the Copycat attack. Since right now the meta is all GXs pretty much, this is a great card for this deck because it's able to copy those non-GX attacks and be able to hit really hard. I mean, if Pikarom uses their attack, you return attack it for 150, and it's a lot of damage for a single prize attacker that's only going to cost you 2 energies. Or even if Charizard swings into something and you want to copy that attack, or just copy the attack period, Flare Strike would be an awesome attack to use with that Mimikyu, because you're going to be hitting for all that damage for a single prize attacker. Now that sounds really good, the trade-off right there. And it's also a single energy retreat, so you can attach Escape Board energy, retreat it, so you don't have to be stuck with it in the active. And for this deck, you want energy in the discard pile, so it's not going to hurt to attach onto it and just manually retreat it. Our next 2 cards are the new Tag Team Giratina Garchomp. Now this card is really cool. I like it a lot. It's able to get those knockouts, those big, huge knockouts with the second attack that it has. As long as the Pokemon has a damage counter, it's able to hit even harder and be able to get those numbers that you need to take out the Charizards, Gardevoir, Sylveon, anything else that has more life than you're able to do with Garchomp. And the reason I run only 2 is because this is not going to be your main attacker for this deck at all. Your main attacker is actually going to be a 2-2 line of Giratina right here. Now these guys are your main attackers off the beginning. You always want to use these guys right here, the Giratinas, to start spreading the damage with the 130 and also bringing it back with Distortion Door to start spreading some damage. So these guys are going to be your main attackers throughout the whole game until you're able to set up for a Giratina guard jump, or just keep swinging with them, because that's the good thing about this deck. You're able to have two play styles. You're either going to have a single price trade with Giratina, or if you need to come in and take out tag teams, you have the Garchomp Tina to be able to come in and take those tag teams. So this deck is really cool because it's able to switch depending on the opponent, or the deck that you're playing against, and it's able to hit those numbers. It's really good because Giratina just comes back when it dies, and it's not weak to Psychic, it's weak to Dark. So I mean, the only thing right now you would have to worry about is Dark Box. That deck itself, it's hard to set up. It doesn't set up all the well consistency right now. So this is a great card right here, the Giratina, to get you going, and that's your main attacker for this deck. Our last card for Pokemon lineup will be the Deoxys right here. Now this card, I'm still kind of iffy about it, but I think it's pretty good right now at the moment. The GX is actually what we're looking for on this card right here. It's able to do the 10 damage counter spread, and if you have extra energies, it does 20 counter spread. So if you have, let's say, enough damage on the board on your opponent's side, with the spell tags you're going to be running, with anything else, linear attack also gives, or either Muse attack also spreads damage. Distortion Reality also spreads damage, so you have a lot of spread going on with this deck. And if you're playing a single attack or a single prize attack deck, this could clean house for you with the 10 damage counter spread, or even if you attach the extra energies, the 20 counter spread. So that's a lot of damage to be spread. It could win you the games. It can take out a big knockout that you are getting threatened by, also if it has enough damage on it. So that's it for the Pokemon lineup right there. We're gonna move on to trainers. Let's pick these up real quick. Okay, so for our first trainers actually will be the stadiums, and of course you got Viridian Forest, the 3 count of that. This card helps you get energies out of your deck, gives you a search option where you can just look through your deck and see what you got going on, and also to discard your Giratinas to start using the Distortion Reality doors right there. It's a really good card in this deck, and this makes perfect sense because you're able to fish out the psychic or fighting energy that you need when you need it. So it's a perfect card for this deck. Okay, our second set of cards, it's going to be a 3 count switch. Now you want to be able to switch around with this because you are running the Jirachis as well, and you want to get those multiple Stellar Wishes if you need them, and also to switch out some bigger Pokemon that you don't want to manually retreat because you have already some energy onto them, or either you just don't want to waste the energies. So 3 counts really good for this deck. I don't think you need a 4 count for this deck because everything's a single energy attachment and you're manually retreated. So this just helps that extra little bit. Our next set of cards will be the 2 skateboards that we need for mainly for the Jirachis, but it can go on anything in this deck. It helps a lot tremendously for that free retreat. And also, if you switch into a skateboard, then you're able to keep switching around however you want to be able to use those Stellar Wishes, or either switch into swing and attack with Giratina or either Garchomp. It's just good to have 2 of these right here. And the next set of cards that we have will be the 4 copy of spell tags. Now some people are debating if 3 is good or 4. I think 4 is a really good number because you want to get into those spell tags and be able to use them at its full effect. You want to be able to just, go ahead and take out my Giratina and spread damage. The whole point of this deck is to spread damage and just put that pressure onto your opponent. So the 4 count is wonderful in this deck because you don't know if your opponent's going to be playing Lysander Labs, and if they knock it out, that's 1 spell tag that they didn't get to go off. So the 4 count is great for this deck, I believe. So we're going to move on to Acrobatics. So of course we're going to be running a 4 count Acrobat here. It just helps you dig into the deck even more when you need it. It helps you discard stuff that you don't need. Your energies need to go in the discard. If you're going against a single prize attack deck, then you don't need your Garchomp Tinas. Big bulky stuff you don't need after you use it, especially lilies. After those first 2 times that you use it, after that you just want to go through them. and it just helps dig into your deck even more, along with Stellar Wish. So it's just more options, more chances of getting what you need. Okay, so on to, let me see, search mechanics. Okay, so we have 4-count Pokemon Communication. Now this is a really good card. It's the only other good card that we have for search mechanics for right now, other than Cherished Balls, Mysterious Treasures, Netball as well. But Pokemon Communication is really good just in case you do start off with some Pokemon you don't need. And it just helps you in your starting hand actually to be able to switch out through your Pokemon to be able to find what you need actually. So if you start with Giratina Garchomps or Deoxys in your hands and some Malamars, but you need some NKs right off the back and Jirachi, then this is the card to use to be able to search it out. Our last item for this deck profile would be the 4-count, let's move these out of the way, 4-count Mysterious Treasure. Now this is the bread and butter of this deck, the 4-count of Mysterious Treasure. It allows you to search all your Psychic type Pokemon or even Dragon type Pokemon if this was running Dragon type, along with discarding a card. And of course you would choose to discard your energy or either the Giratina to put it in the discard. Now, this is the perfect card because if you are stuck and you need to search out a specific Pokemon that is not a Psychic, you can search out a Psychic, and if you have a Pokemon Communication, you'll put that Psychic Pokemon back into the deck to search whatever you want. Now, it's a longer process for this deck, and that is the downfall since Nest Ball and Ultra Ball have gone away. We have to do this route, and this is the best route that we have at the moment. So, if you need to, Mysterious Treasure for Psychic, send it back in with the Pokemon Communication, and get what you need. So now we're going to go on to our supporters. Okay, so for our supporter line, it's gonna run heavy on search engines. So we have the 4-count Cynthia. This just is the general good card to have in your deck. Sometimes you get stuck with cards or your bad hand actually that you can't play, and the Cynthia just gives you that other option to be able to shuffle, and you have to shuffle good and get everything out and get something useful out to be able to start your turn off of this. And the next supporter that we have, of course, is going to be the 4-count Lily. Now, Lily is also another wonderful card because if you're able to go first turn with it, you're able to get up to 8 cards, and it's just another great card if you don't want to discard anything, or if you have what you want in your hand but you don't want a Cynthia. Lily just allows you to draw into more cards, allowing you to keep what you have in your hand as well. So it's another great card, and with the 4-4 split, I think this is a good count to have in this deck to be able to always have a draw supporter in your hand. So that is it for the draw supporters, guys. Not much on this. I mean, everything else was taken out of format already. I can't see anything else going into this deck. I mean, maybe an Erica's Hospitality and change of either or. I think that would work out as well, pretty good. But other than that, I think this is a good count. So we're gonna move on to the energy counts for this. So for the energy count, we're gonna be running 6 Psychic. That is plenty enough to get you going. You don't need a whole lot of energy in this deck because the most expensive attack cost in this deck is 3 energies, which is your Giratina or the Giratina Garchomp and Deoxys. I mean, there's only a few cards that you need that many energies. So it's a perfect way to get enough energies attached, or either discard what you need to do Psychic Recharge with the Malamars. And then 3 Fighting Energies to get you going for the Garchomp Giratina attacks to hit those knockouts. And you don't want more than 3 because I think 3 is good enough since you're only running 2 Giratinas. Even if 1 or 2 is prized, you still have a chance to get the other one to use at least 1 attack with the Giratina, get you a knockout, draw into your prizes in search of more. You know, like I said, this deck is going to be putting pressure on with Giratina, the baby version. It's just going to put pressure with the spell tags and everything. It's going to be enough damage going around to be able to hang on to that Garchomp. You know, he's really just in there for those big matchups that you need to one-shot something, because the Reshiram build right now is healing so much. So even if you tag it, you need to tag it enough where they can't fully heal it, because if they can't fully heal it all the way, you're able to come in and one-shot it. And that's what you need to do against the Charizard. You have to consistently put that pressure onto the Charizard and force them to use all their healing before they can actually get some knockouts going. Alright guys, so this is the deck profile that I have for the Malamar Argentina version. I like it a lot. It plays out good, but it's also, you know, there's also with the evolving decks, with the stage 1 decks, you know, the hard part is getting it set up. That's the hardest part with all these basic decks going around right now that don't require evolving. They're able to just set up so well, but this is able to put a lot of pressure once it gets set up, and you know, it's a 60-40 chance right now on setting up, so it's got a good chance of always setting up. Some people are running the Dene along with it in there. I think the Dene is a good card as well. We tried it out for a little bit, and it just seemed to be the #1 target for some of the decks, and so we decided to take it out. It's a good card to get you out of a tight spot, to be able to just discard your hand and, you know, draw 6 more cards and get you going, but it just hinders you sometimes if you have to use it, especially if you're going against a deck that can knock it out with one shot in or either, you know, Pikarom. It's really hard because it's just an easy target. So we decided to cut the Dene out and just add another Lily or Cynthia, I think, because we taken out one Cynthia for the Dene, but I think the 4-count Cynthia is better for this deck right here. And so yes, this Malamar deck is pretty good. We had some success with it. I know a few of our teammates have had some success with it. Not exactly, I don't think it's the exact same 60, just a few different cards actually. I mean, 1 or 2 differences, but they've had some success with it here recently at the 1K, and it plays out pretty well. When you put it behind a good player that knows how to set up, it's gonna work and it's gonna hit hard and it's gonna put that pressure onto these tag team decks. It's just that good. Alright guys, so this is the deck profile for the Malamar. Thanks for watching. I'll be posting it later and keep up with some posts, and also I'll be recording, I think the next one will be the Pikarom. I also got Charizard, and I'm doing a Persephone deck profile as well. So although you know, I'm thinking those are going to be the tier 1 decks for Worlds format coming up this weekend. Alright guys, well thanks for watching. I appreciate it. If you could subscribe and like, so that way you can keep posted on what's going on, and we'll catch you later guys. Peace out.